Hello, Next Geners. Welcome back to 2021. It's our first form preview for the year. With me, Daily Sectionals Hayden Byrne. Hayden, Happy New Year, mate.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you too. It's great to be back, isn't it?
Pick a few winners over Christmas.
I had a little bit of a quiet period in terms of actual bets themselves, but the winners keep flowing on their usual basis. It's just I didn't select to take much participation in most of them, to be honest.
Well, those in our little Next Gen syndicate, we enjoyed our first winner last week with Defiant Diva at the Gold Coast on Saturday. $1.80 in the end was a bit too short for me to have a play, but certainly the owners got a lot of joy out of that win.
Well, what a way for a bunch of young aspiring race goers and race horse owners to get their first winner. Smashed up on the corner, lose momentum, get the split, then probably not to their knowledge, their horse runs about 5 horses off the fence and collects the horse who's barraged into it a dozen times prior. And the great game that racing is gives us the scenario where, okay, we might have hit you 5 times, but you've definitely hit us once, and that once might have cost us the race. So what a thrill for a bunch of people to get an odds-on winner for their first attempt.
Oh, look, it was just a thrill to have a runner a week, 2 weeks earlier at the Magic Millions, just to have a runner up there. She obviously ran second on debut, which gave her enough prize money to have a crack at the Magic Millions maiden. I thought she ran pretty well considering the inside was certainly off that day. And yeah, thrilled to get a win, and hopefully we see her at Doomben next Saturday, and then we can think about the Queensland Winter. I think they just want to keep her up there and potentially see if she can get over a bit of ground. But let's get stuck into the podcast. Off the top, we're going to give a plug to our Next Gen Ladies' Day supporting Udita Clark. It's not solely just for ladies. It's guys and girls are welcome. Hopefully the idea is that plenty of guys want to come along and bring their ladies along. Bring their partners, and we'll have plenty of things going on for the ladies. If they're not really into the racing, the guys can get around the races, and we might have a little punters club and that. But we've got plenty of guest speakers: Jane Ivel, Sam McClure, and Natalie Young from the Busselton team. We're going to have some live entertainment there, food included, a drink on entry. $45 should be a decent day out.
It'll be a fantastic day out, and a little bit for those who, even for the guys who aren't into the racing, with Sam McClure there. It's been a big off season in the AFL circle, with plenty of rumour and innuendo going around. I think there might be an award at the moment for who can spread the best viral text message with zero truth to it. But I'm sure Sam can fill us in on a little bit of that's been going on.
Well, Sam is actually a part owner in Dosh, who's going to be running in the Blue Diamond the day before. So it'd be good to just chat to him as well about what's it like owning a share in a Blue Diamond runner. He did tell me, though, if Dosh wins, he might not make it a rival, because I think the boys are planning a party on the Yarra if they win. But otherwise, it'd be great to have Sam there to chat a bit of footy, a bit of racing. It should be a good day. So you can hit me up, or if you know Hayden well, hit up Hayden and we'll organise a few tickets for you, but it should be a good day. What did you think of the card tomorrow? I think it's, obviously it's the first Group 1 meeting of the season, so we're really getting some good horses back to the track, both at Caulfield and in Sydney.
Well, I think all eyes for participants this week have been firmly on Channel 7 News with Jane Bunn with the weather forecast. I'm waiting for Armageddon. It's threatened twice. It's looked likely before. Now it's about 27 degrees and muggy. But I know that I did the entire form for Caulfield last week and was expecting a S7 H8. And after running some sectional times on the first race, thought this track's right on a G4. So I pretty much screwed up everything that I did and threw that out the window. So first off, I think that's the big key. How's that track and how's that going to be affected weather-wise? Because if that's in the same condition as last week, if that's in an identical position to last week come Friday morning, that track's going to be G3 heading to an F2 range with, that was a month of rain and that track's race G4. It would be rock hard if he's expecting 30 mil and none of that comes. So all eyes are going to be on the racetrack. I expect, if that weather doesn't, I think even if the weather does hit from now on in, it's still going to be quite firm and quite slick in terms of the card. Good card. Great to see the 2-year-olds, and we get some high-end talent resuming at the end of the program.
All right, we'll go in race card order then and start with the first. It's a 1,400 metre benchmark 84 handicap. A few progressive types here, but the one the punters have come for is Regards Marie, number 7 for Reese McLeod rides for Nick Ryan. Winner on Australia Day at Caulfield, beating home Write Your Name and Heart of Passance. But the clock, there was nothing really on the clock, was there?
No. Horse is airborne. No doubt about that. Punters know it. I think stable, very, very confident when it comes to Regards Marie. I think they know how well she's going. Her previous 2 starts have predominantly just been sit back, do nothing, zing home last 400s. Caulfield rail back to the true here. We'll play a little bit harder on speed. It's not going to be as easy as it was in the most recent run to make that ground and find those quicker lanes down the middle of the track. And once you do start getting into that 6 off the fence or better, where traditionally those lanes do lie, if they've had a little bit of water in them and they've got some scarring from recent racing, they won't race as fast as they generally do. We're back into some fresh ground on the inside. So those runners on the inside fence might take some catching. You could elevate horses like Mystery Shot and Imperial Lad, give them chances. They won't be as easy to catch as what she got last time, but Regards Marie, definitely horse fit, flying and in form.
Okay, I actually thought Imperial Lad at the each way play was the way I wanted to play here. I think if you're getting $2.15 Regards Marie or $1.85 Imperial Lad to place, I think Imperial Lad at the bottom of the weights can certainly run top 3. Has a third to parity, and I think that's pretty good form for this benchmark race, and looks like a horse that's progressing through the grades nicely. 4 wins, 4 seconds, 4 thirds for John Maloney. So, and you're right, barrier 4 should be advantage there. Race 2, we get stuck into the Blue Diamond Preludes here, and we see a couple that have been running around. A couple ran in the previews on Australia Day. Taylor's Moment is one that's ran second to Dosh in that preview, and I think that's pretty good form. Godolphin have a few runners in this race. What are you thinking here with the 2-year-olds?
2-year-olds, this little group here, well under the those at the top of the market in overall Blue Diamond calculations. There is a few there. Arcaded's one of them. Tell You Ride's another. They've got a little bit of evidence there to say that they can make a little bit of a leap, but even if they do find a length or two this time in, or if they find that stepping up to 1,100 metres, they're still going to be that length and a half, if not 2 lengths behind horses like Enther, Profiteer and Co. So not a race I'm really interested in from a betting point of view. And I think if one of the 2 first starters, Calipar, Craig Williams, Janibi, Joe Bowditch, if they can put a benchmark performance or better in here, then it'd be almost impossible to see them miss the top 3. Calipar's definitely one. Market's starting to sniff around from a dangerous camp that, every time they send a runner out in a race like this, you've got to respect. So, definitely for me, not a betting race, and eyes will be on Calipar.
I agree from a betting perspective. I'm not interested in having a bet here, but I thought Taylor's Moment with that Dosh form was probably the one that if I was in a tipping comp and I had to put one on top, that's the one I'm putting on top. It's a bit similar in race 3. It's the Prelude. We see General Bow and Extreme Warrior meet again. Marine 1 was in that race at Caulfield on Australia Day as well. And I think Godolphin have a pretty high opinion of Animo, although Animo's win at Sandown back in November didn't show a lot on the clock. But I guess with 2-year-olds, they can sort of jump out of the ground and improve their IVR figure pretty sharply from. I think Animo was a -5.5 or something like that at that last start win.
Yeah, pretty much just to jump, sit back, do nothing. Sprint for 200 metres, prove you're better than everybody else, and move on to your next start. This division, smarter than the previous up until this stage. Horses like, General Bow, Jigsaw, Extreme Warrior. In years gone by, they would be serious Blue Diamond contenders. Races like the Blue Diamond, traditionally in a weaker style of year, you need somewhere around 2 lengths above IVR benchmark to be either winning or hard in the race. These horses, they've got a 1,000-metre profile, which is above benchmark. The challenge for them now is to bring it to 1,100 and then take it to 1,200 metres again. Every year we see those 1 or 2 that look explosive over 1,000, and as soon as they step outside the 1,000-metre range, they go pop and you never see them again. So again, not a betting race for me. General Bow, Jigsaw, Extreme Warrior, up until this point in time, they have the minimum requirement needed to leap into a Blue Diamond. And if one of them could fix up their opposition here, they would then enter the talking point. But again, just to watch and learn.
Yeah, and it's sort of like that for me too. I was pretty keen on Extreme Warrior at Caulfield. He ran second to General Bow. Look, he could turn the tables. He might not. I'm not really sure. I want to punt to find out. And you're right, Jigsaw off that Geelong win is certainly an interesting runner going into this race as well. So certainly a watch and learn, although we might have a quick chat about the Inglis Millennium and how the Blue Diamond actually is shaping up in a couple of weeks' time a little bit later. If you're following us on Facebook, do comment. I can see the comments. Lockie Chapman, I think he's with me with Imperial Lad in the first race. Sam Tankard Hayden says that 10 millimetres of irrigation was applied today at Caulfield.
Well, it's we got 10 on. Last week we got 52 on, I think. Still raced at G4. Sam knows a lot more about racetracks than me. I predominantly just know them from a track speed and time perspective. I think Sam's pretty well known around. He's one of the boys at Moonee Valley, isn't he? From memory.
Yeah, you're right.
So when it comes to racetracks, I'll be taking Sam's advice over mine.
Ryan Reynolds asked, what are your free bets going on this weekend, Damo? I have a good bet coming up later, Rhino, so follow that. And Dale Hooper says, welcome back, gents, and great to be back for next gen. Race 4 is a really interesting race. I say that because one of the favourites is a horse called I'm Thunderstruck, and I was looking at the pre-acceptance market on Tuesday and Wednesday, and this horse I'm Thunderstruck was $10 into $3.50 before acceptances. And then I heard Mick Price on radio yesterday talking to Matt Stewart and just said, Matt, make sure you've got some money on I'm Thunderstruck this Saturday. Has this horse produced numbers that make him a standout at all? We obviously see horses like Young Werther in the race, who's going to be better over further. Amish Boy had a nice prep as a 3-year-old. Well, he's obviously still 3, but as a spring 3-year-old, and then ran second in the Magic Million Guineas. I think Jet Propulsion is a talent. Even Poland for Mike Moroney has plenty of upside too. But I'm really intrigued about I'm Thunderstruck, who won on debut at Caulfield earlier or last month and carries the OTI colours.
Interesting runner. Understand the hype, fully understand the hype, and completely get where Mick's coming from. because there's nothing to this point in time that gives me the indication that this horse isn't all that he thinks it is and more. But the one thing that he doesn't have to this point of his career is he doesn't have exposure to pressure and genuine high race pressure. Don't be mistaken. This horse has got an electric last 400 metre sprint. He's got electric straight line speed. He's the style of horse that'll be even better when he gets to a track like Flemington. He's got a devastating 200 metre sprint on him. He's fast. He could sit back off this. He could sit back against this group, improve a length, and kill them. But Mick's also had a horse called.
Might have just lost you there, Hayden. You might have to move a little bit to the left or the right. You've just paused there from my end. I find this a really interesting race as you just sort yourself out there. Jet Propulsion's always been one that's been intriguing to me. A half brother to Piarata, bred by Rubik, and has a star-studded ownership group. The likes of Coolmore in the horse, Peter Moody, Brace Sokolsky, Kieran Ma. Obviously trains the horse, but he's part owner as well. So is Anthony Mithen from Rosemont, and had a third to Peltzer in the spring in the Stan Fox, a Group 2 level, and this is a much easier race than that. Young Werther, obviously a talent, started favourite in the Derby over 2,500 metres, and obviously got beaten by Johnny Get Angry, but was just at his third start as a gelding, a Tavistock gelding, and the step up from 1,500 to 18 to 2,500 at his third start. You can understand why he mightn't have got the job done there. He's back to 1,400 here, a horse with talent, and might be sort of the next sort of coming a Russian Camelot, depending on what we see of him this preparation. I'm not sure from my perspective it's a race I'm desperate to bet in, but I do respect Mick Price, when he's on radio and says make sure you have something on, then perhaps he's a horse I want to have something on. So I'm just waiting for Hayden to join us again, and I'll get his thoughts on that race when he comes back. Race 5 is the Kevin Hayes Stakes. It's 1,200 metres. This is a really interesting sort of race too at Group 3 level. We see La Mexicana, who's been in really good form all through the spring and over summer, resumed on Australia Day with another nice win. Jamie Carr sticks. A horse that's she's had 6 starts for 4 wins, a second and a third, so she's never missed the placings. And if you do like betting the place, I'll be interested to see. I assume she's starting favourite again on Saturday. Welcome back, Hayden. I was just talking about La Mexicana in race 5, but I'll let you finish what you were saying about I'm Thunderstruck in race 4.
Yeah, I was just quickly on that. It's got all the credentials there to be a top line horse. When it's already proven that it's got parts to its makeup that are elite. It's an elite sprint, elite sustained 400 metre sprint, strong straight line speed, etc., etc. These horses they get very fascinating when they do show that. They're horses who we immediately expect to leap up right into, Group 1 level. The thing with a horse like him is if he can handle pressure early in his races, then the world's his oyster. It could be anything. If he can't, he's pretty much just to sit back, need the right race shape. I'll be fast late. Put me in the right track with the right rail position, and I'll look like far lap. You expose me to high pressure, and I'll go pop. So no knock at all. Nice horse. Can't wait to watch him.
Yeah, I just thought it was not a race that from my form assessment that I wanted to get really involved in, but But when Mick Price says on radio to have something on, then maybe you'll have a little bit on for a bit of entertainment. Just looking at the comments, Lockie Chapman again. I live around from Caulfield. Still no rain arrived yet. And another comment from Sam Tankard. Had a walk today. Track will be good, and thought lanes 3 to 9 as good as anywhere. So track should be fair. Slightly more moisture in lane 1 to keep an eye on early. So maybe they might get a little bit off the fence, and we know you get out into those lanes at Caulfield and there's a bit of an advantage there.
Definitely. Stalking the lead speed, it's traditionally how it plays. So on pace is what I'm expecting, because it's hard to get right out wide, particularly in small fields. That's the big key to when you're talking about lanes and you're talking about race shape, etc. Small fields, 9 horses or less, it's very, very difficult, if not impossible, to get a dramatic lane advantage from the horse on speed. Traditionally, you'll only be 4 wide at worst, possibly 5, which only gets you 5 horses away from where the leader's sitting. And it's even harder to make ground when you come down identical lanes. So that creates that. And then you'll see later in the day, you'll get a field of 12, 13, 14, etc. They'll peel wide. You'll get 12 off the fence, 10 to 12 off the fence, artificial ground, and you'll go, all the track's just gone from the inside. So things to think about when you're looking at field sizes.
All right, race 5. I was just pumping up the tyres of La Mexicana, who's had 6 starts for 4 wins, a second and a third. Another nice win on Australia Day at Caulfield. She's just a bomb-proof little mare or filly, and the price, I'm not sure you want to jump into the price, but she's certainly got some nice numbers to her name in her short career. The favourite's actually another Mick Price, Mick Kent Jr. horse, Pinkham, down the bottom, a debut winner.
Yeah, La Mexicana, nice horse. Putting it all together, Aidensfield horse we were a big fan of last campaign. Horse going in the right direction, nothing between these, a length and a half, 2 lengths maximum between the whole field. Will be a bunch of fillies/mares that will be looking to sneak around that 1,100 metre area to sneak some black type into their pedigrees to improve their value. La Mexicana at the moment looks like the one who's ready to take the next step. But horses like these sort of only need to find a length and a half better than what they've produced previous, which fillies and mares can do, to put themselves into races better than this. So La Mexicana, Aidensfield, Pinkham, Hinden, Malacorn, even horses like Highly Discreet, Parlophone are all going to get that opportunity this campaign. Another watch race, not a betting one for mine.
Yeah, I thought the same too, unless you had plenty to scream about Pinkham, who, that debut win has been highly rated by some punters out there, won pretty comfortably at Seymour by 2.5 lengths. Race 6, I think we start to get into the good races here, horses that have got a number of figures above benchmark. One of your favourites, Best of Days, is a $4.80 favourite in this 1,600 metre Carline Cup. We see Nonconformist at $5, Overexposure at $6, Vacillator at $8, Miss Siska at $9, and Double Figures the rest.
Good race, like this one. It's the style of race where you've got horses like Best of Days. Nerf Bosca's been electric since he's gone over to Perth. They've definitely found the key to success with him. Overexposure's a horse. Very, very difficult to ignore his last 2 performances, in this second tier, third tier grade. Dangerous horse in races like this, Nonconformist, not my style of horse.
Yep.
Vacillator would be in tears that he's left Flemington to go somewhere else. Harlem's Harlem. You either take him on every start or you have something on him, and the one day he wins, you'd be happy by a metric. This could be dangerous from on speed in a race like this. Mummy Bound, expecting another good return from him. She was very good last campaign. Best of Day simply shouldn't miss a place in a race like this.
Yeah.
Barrier 9, Damien's going to stalk the lead speed. If he gets across, finds that position, hard to see him miss. This is his race. Overexposure is electric. could probably give him a run for his money. Big Watch Nerf Boss coming back to Victoria, and Respect Miss Siska, but Best of Days from an each way really shouldn't miss the money barring a poor parade.
Yeah, Nerf Boss scratched, so not coming over, or might be over here, but not running on Saturday. The numbers or the horses I had were Best of Days, Overexposure, and Vacillator. But you're right, the change in track from Flemington to Caulfield, Vacillator has placed 3 times from 9 starts, never won at Caulfield, although trained at Caulfield. But you're right, Best of Days, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, did he run a 2.9, plus 2.9 in the Villiers, 2 starts back, and then second over 2,000 metres, has had a trial, and don't mind the recipe of 2,000 metres back to 1,600.
Yeah, he's got that rock solid profile, mate, when it comes to mile racing, especially on good ground. You know, he's got the ability to produce a performance anywhere between the high 2s to the low 5s. In terms of class, IVR class, he's the class runner here, and significantly the class runner. The only thing that might annoy him a little bit is not expecting a strong speed. If the speed was a little bit more pure in a race like this, it'd be impossible to see him missing the money. But sometimes races like this, smaller field, leader can kick and just make it a 400-metre sprint. That's not his go, but he still should be there.
Yeah, and I hope, he just doesn't have a great winning strike rate, and not of recent. You're getting $4.80 to find out. But I also remember a horse called Sosie Bon, who didn't have a great winning strike rate, but dropped in class, and you just trust those IVR figures. And Sosie Bon was able to put it together in a lower class, and I'm hoping Best of Days does the same on Saturday. Race 7, we see Probabeel return, one of our favourites, certainly one of my favourites. She blitzed them in the Epsom in the spring. She resumes here over 1,200. I'm not sure Jamie Richards was all that excited about her jump out at Geelong, but she's certainly got class on these.
Yeah, definitely. She's the class runner of the race. Probably the class runner of the meeting, really.
Yeah.
All close to it. The Cox Plate winner's in the next, so you know she's high class Group 1 mare. Outstanding rider on. Where does he get to in the run? There'll probably be one little challenge she gets. And the horse I expect to lead with John Allen on board, Snap Dancer. You take Probabeel out of this race, and I'm really keen to have a bet on Snap Dancer against the remainder of these. So in terms of betting prospect, am I just getting a little bit better? You know, is Snap Dancer a true, is she that odds-on style of runner here, but I'm going to get, $3.50, $4 because Probabeel's in the race? Or is Probabeel the best horse and just beats her? 1,200 metres, I think Snap Dancer will take a ton of catching. I'm going to get an each-way price, and I'll be interested to play. Probabeel, exciting horse. Where's she going? Is she going the mile?
Yeah, I think she's going All-Star Mile. I think we'll probably see her in the Futurity in 2 weeks over 1,400, and then a couple of weeks to the All-Star Mile.
Yeah, I'll be looking for a big return from him. We'll make some money out of her this campaign. In terms of the other runners, Sierra Sue's definitely a horse I want to keep an eye on. On multiple occasions, shown that she's got ability, and she's the style of horse who's going to improve as she gets older. And I don't think the race goes much further than that. You're talking about horses like Bam's on Fire. You'd be hoping Jamie Carr can sit there, either lead or sit outside leader. The other horse, from a betting point of view, I'm interested in Snap Dancer, and from a watching point of view is Probabeel and Sierra Sue, mate.
Does it change your thinking? I'm not sure if you've seen the market, but Snap Dancer is actually the $3.20 favourite and Probabill's $4.50.
No, that's fine. No, that's why I just made that comment that if Probabil wasn't in the race, and I don't like comments like that because she is there and there's no, I don't make things up. But what I'm saying is that is Probabil just going to, from that gate, is she just going to drop back to last, try and work her way around the outside, zing home, be a really nice second, third, fourth?
Yeah.
Because if she wasn't there, I couldn't see the rest of these beating Snap Dancer.
Yeah.
So am I getting $3.50 or $4 about a horse who take the little first up jet out of the race? What it is probably getting me is an each way price, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Where
I wouldn't get that under traditional circumstances.
Yeah. You're saying if Probabil got scratched tonight, then Snap Dancer starting under $2.
Tomato sauce time.
Yeah. All right, let's look at the feature. It's the CF Stakes. I mentioned it before. The Cox Plate winner, Sir Dragonet, is there as $2.70 favourite. Also in the market, Crosshaven, the 3-year-old, at $3.80. Imaging, $6.50. Streets of Avalon, $7.50. And then you get double figures for Sovereign Award, Blazejowski, Humidor, Angel of Truth, and Amy McDonald's Arcadia Prince. Good luck to Amy McDonald with her first Group 1 runner.
Yeah, isn't this tricky? Do you get how do you say it? Does the Cox Plate winner resuming here? Does he just jump too short, 1,400 metres, and you're looking at a really nice hit the line, or is $2.90 a complete gift against this lot? And he just fixes them up. When you might look back in hindsight and say, he probably should have been $1.60. Clearly class runner.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about him is internationals, rarely do internationals come out and put their best ever performances in Australia. Normally they produce their best overseas. They come here. If you can get somewhere near it, you'll push those better races. You might pinch one. This horse has just leapt since he's been in Australia. He's running the Melbourne Cup, was outstanding. His Cox Plate win on the wet track was identical. And then you look underneath him and you say, okay, who's there to beat? And you look across Haven, Streets of Avalon, $2.90 and a Cox Plate winner. It's not really a... I don't know. If he gets over that $3 mark, I think he might persuade me to have something on him. Wouldn't want to take odds on. I'd rather watch. Probably the only other horse in the race who, from a betting point of view, is a maybe, and it'd be on an each-way play, would be a horse like Imaging. But apart from that, Crosshaven's going to sit hard on speed, be hard to catch. Sovereign Award, Damien will just jump, sit 1-1, stalk, hit the front. Horse is tough, but it's, strength. You're talking about Crosshaven, Sovereign Award. You're even talking about horses like Blazejowski and Streets of Avalon winning all stakes. Oh, it doesn't sit right with me. Maybe it's just a good thing, mate.
Yeah, the two I had were obviously Sir Dragonet and Imaging, a horse that you might remember I was pretty keen on in the Winx Stakes after, he ran, I think he ran a plus 0.5 first up over 1,200 metres behind Eduardo in the missile. And then I thought Imaging each way in the Winx Stakes was a massive play at big odds and ran a dashing fourth with no luck behind Very Elegant. I think Star of the Seas and Fierce Impact ran the placings and was sort of kicking myself that Imaging didn't get the chocolates there. But, yeah, I could entertain Imaging each way here, although I'm with you. Sir Dragonet certainly looks a real class above and liked his trial at Geelong. But actually, my best bet or or the one I'm real keen on comes in the last race. It's the 1100 metre Rubiton. It's a Group 2 race. It's a sharp little race. Viridine, Grey Worm, Bold Star, Ghana, Shimino, High Stranger. Good luck to, I think, Lockie Chapman is in High Stranger. How Romantic, Causeway Girl, Prophet's Thumb, and Sword of Mercy.
Yeah, good little race to, good way to finish the program. There'll be a few split opinions out there. I think there'll be a lot of people who go into the last race. There'll be a core group that likes Viridine. There'll be another group that likes Ghana. There'll be another group that likes Grey Worm. And I think horses like How Romantic will have supporters, as will possibly horses like Sword of Mercy and Prophet's Thumb. I think there'll be a lot of people keen on their selection. And unfortunately, only a group are going to be right. I looked at it as a little bit of a tactical battle. How Romantic, for mine, looks like it can press forward, even though it's a little bit out of Jai's makeup to make something aggressive. He can push forward. Along with Geordie Childs, another rider who traditionally doesn't have that level of aggression in their riding style. Even though Jai did bust them up in a Melbourne Cup, I think that's one of the only times I've ever seen him really do that. He's more of a sit and stalk style rider. And the other one's Damien Lane, Sword of Mercy. They're the three who look like they'll jump, go forward and set the speed, and they don't look like they'll have much trouble getting there either. You'd be confident that horses like Bold Star, Shimino, Prophet's Thumb, etc. will all go back, so it should be orderly pace-wise. To me, Ghana looked like it would get the run of the race. This looks like a big game of cat and mouse. If Damien can get across on Viridine and sit behind those three, stalking along with Craigie Boy on Ghana, it'll just become a battle of tactics in between the two. Grey Worm always takes catching. Everywhere it goes, it's hard to beat. How Romantic, very similar profile, may have a slight edge on it, but Grey Worm looks like it's likely to find the rail. Cat and Mouse, Bold Star late on the scene. That's the way I'd play the race. I'd play the race Ghana or Viridine, whichever one you favour. Ghana would be slightly in front for mine. And you could leave the horse that you probably save on up to you, and you can finish that one off.
Well, I'm really keen on Bold Star at $17 and $4.60 each way. I just think the reason why this horse is such big odds is the bookies have probably had a look at its first up stats. Its first up stats read 6 first up starts for a win and no other placings. So on paper, to the naked eye, it doesn't look like it's got a great first up record. But then you actually go through the IVR data, you go through last prep in the spring, and his best run was actually first up last prep. He produced a number, I think it was plus 2.4 in the, let me just find it. I think it was behind Diamond Effort in the Heath. This track and distance, August 20, ran 4th to Diamond Effort and Liar, beaten half a length, came from 11th and flew home down the outside lanes, which is his go. And I think as the prep got on, like his 4 runs or 5 runs for the prep were all above benchmark performances, but his best performance was first up. He's trialled at Gawler leading into this, and he won that trial without being asked at all. Mark Zara rides, and Mark Zara is a specialist at Caulfield. I think there's a lot of ticks for a horse that looks massive odds. And, you compare Bold Star to Ghana, who is $6.50, and Bold Star beat Ghana home in that race, the Heath, last year. So, yeah, I'm really keen on Bold Star as an each way play. For me, if you're a punter that likes having a $50 bet, I'd be having 10 the win and 40 the place on Bold Star.
Sounds good.
All right, mate. Was there one there for you that you wanted to mention as a standout bet? Clearly, I'm keen on Bold Star as the way I want to play on Saturday.
No.
No standouts for you?
No.
Oh, what about in Sydney, mate? It looks like a nice card there as well, excuse me.
It does look like a nice card. It's going to be a nice card to sit back and, put, if you're in the cheese platter sort of zone, if you're that sort of fella, make yourself a nice little cheese platter with some grapes and stuff and sit back and have a look. Very exciting horse coming up I think it's a benchmark of 94 over 1,000 metres. Written beauty. She's a little weapon.
Yeah.
You stamp yourself in that +3.5 style sprinter over 1,000 metres. You're a little wrecking ball. Really excited to see her come back. I think she's a really smart horse. You're not going to get any odds about it. I've got zero interest in putting horses like that in multi-bets, etc. I'd just rather watch and clap, mate. You're taking Winks odds about and Black Caviar odds about horses who aren't them. Should be exciting. I think there's a horse that you wanted to touch on in race 5, which was which one's this one? The Cyclone or something, isn't it? The Millennium or...
Yeah, it's the Inglis Millennium. I think it's only in its second year, a restricted race for 2-year-olds. I think it's worth $2 million. And Profiteer is the $1.55 favourite. I think last week it was announced that Newgate Farm has actually already bought a share in this horse, as it did with Extreme Choice before that Mick Price runner went on to win the Blue Diamond. And I don't think you'd necessarily want to jump into $1.55 on Saturday, but I was more than happy to take the $15 now for the Blue Diamond for Profiteer, because if he gets the job done as he is expected on Saturday, then I think he could be testing Enthar for favouritism. I think Enthar's already sort of around the $2.50 mark with some bookmakers, and I think we could see Profiteer pretty close to that mark if he came out and blitzed them on Saturday.
I don't think you're going to be far off the mark there. He's a really nice horse. He's certainly in that bracket of top couple potential for the Blue Diamond. And he has the perfect lead-up profile for a race, not only for the race on the weekend, but for the Blue Diamond going forward. Again, all he has to do is take that 1,100-metre profile up to 1,200, so he gets another crack at 11. A repeat of the performance from Flemington, he simply wouldn't miss the top 2. And he's got one main rival here, which is Ashima. For my man, Tommy Berry, one of my soldiers up in Sydney, a man who, when I know I need to put the money on, that I can be confident that Tommy's going to get the job done. He's a great servant of Victoria with St Andrew's Brewery. So young Tom will shake the life out of Profiteer, but if Hubert jumps, controls it and buggers off on them, this is a horse who realistically, as they sit right now, can shake the life out of Enthar in the Diamond.
Yeah, well, I think, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Profiteer plus 1.6 on debut. What sort of numbers is Enthar putting up?
The thing with Enthar and Enthar's numbers is they are over 1,000 metres.
Yep.
She hasn't been asked to do much. Her last run at Caulfield, mate, was just pretty much a jump, settle, track work, 800 metres home, produce a benchmark performance. A couple of lengths faster through the first section, or ask for a big effort from the 600 will stamp her as how good is she really. But up until now, she's just a zing around 1,000-metre sprinter. And until she gets that level of pressure, up until then we will find out.
Might ask you about race 6. Really interested to see North Pacific back at the races. Certainly a horse that has supreme talent. He had plenty of really good numbers on a couple of heavy track wins, and then he's run in the Run to the Rose, and then his follow-up second to Ole Kirk in the Golden Rose. Again, you might not want to jump into the shorts, but Michael or Team Hawks are unveiling their star horses this weekend.
Yeah, he's a serious racehorse, this one. I'm a big fan of him. He sustained that profile in that plus 3.5 mile. He looked like if he was going to continue on in the campaign that he could either A, go and shake the life out of Ole Kirk in the mile, But also with me, he had a profile that he could have dropped back in distance to the 1200 and he would have shaken the life out of a race like the Everest. That's the level of talent I think he's got. The one who might sneak under the radar here is the Face, who's talented. I think everyone sees it a little bit of a match race, North Pacific versus Peltzar, but the Face is definitely in the mix. Peltzar's an exciting horse. Just don't think they know where to target this horse. I think they got a bit lost last campaign and just followed the second tier, made a mess of them and made all the money. But I think he's in that, they hope he is that Group 1 horse they might have first thought he was. But at the moment, he's just a little bit under and he holds that profile too. But North Pacific, if he comes back in identical form to last campaign, he wins. And if he's improved, Black Figures it might be a spoil. He's got a little bit of rock star about him.
And if anyone is wondering how the weights work with these set penalties races, I'm pretty sure the fact that Peltzer's won a Group 2 and North Pacific's best win was a Group 3. I think that's why Peltzer carries half a kilo more than North Pacific. Not that we really care all that much about weights. What about Ole Kirk returning in the English sprint over 1,200 metres?
Yeah, love him. Wouldn't dive into short odds about him, but he's a star. Be interesting to see what they do with him, particularly this campaign and over his little journey. He's a horse, if he was mine, I would set a horse like him for a race like a Cox Plate. I wouldn't err away from that until he indicated that 2,000 metres wasn't his go. Then he could revert back to races like Epsom's and such. Doncaster's, he's that mould. Lovely, strong 1,400 metre miler. Can't knock him. He's a star. Our little girl, Tommy again. I think if Tommy wins on what was it called? The horse Ashima.
Yeah.
And Tommy wins on Dame Giselle, our little horse. I think Tommy needs to come to the party with a little bit of St Andrews lager or pale ale.
I have to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, we can share a few yarns down in the Mackay Diva box down at, that's Old Markdale, isn't it?
You could be right. While we're talking about this race, I wouldn't mind getting your thoughts on one at odds, and that's Malkovich, who was a winner last start at Randwick over 1,100 metres and then was blistering in a trial at Rose Hill. Interested to get your thoughts, 26 into 16s.
Yeah, John comes here. Johnny's first up run at Canterbury, 1,100 metres, was super best of the day, 1.5 lengths above IVR benchmark. Typical Canterbury Lane 1 highway, jump lead win. His previous two, there's been a bit of sting out of the ground. His most recent 2 starts, he doesn't like that. To the point where his IVR figures do deteriorate and his wet track numbers are only fair. Definitely a better horse on top of the ground. But he's flying and he's talented. He's got all the makings of a horse who could run +2 or better from hard on speed, which makes horses like him very hard to beat. He's promising, but I'd like to see him go round on the dry. So I think there's going to be a bit of juice in the ground up there.
Yeah, okay. And the other one is Prime Star, who does have a good win to its name. Ran second to Peltzer in the Bondi. I'm pretty sure it won the Inglis Millennium this day last year on a really wet track and put up a good figure, beating Bella Nipotina from memory. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting race to watch on Saturday. The Inglis Sprint. We see Shared Ambition resume over 1,600 metres against All-Time Legend, who was just a horror watch last start.
Oh, if you backed All-Time Legend last start, and I'm guilty. That was just a horror show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
absolute horror show. If this track falls apart, watch a horse called Order Again. He's a mudlark. There's a couple of horses here who I'm really, really interested in. I know you're going to say, don't, you're being silly, but I'm interested in Shared Ambition to see how he comes back. I'm also interested in Big Popper Pump.
Oh.
Mount Popper.
There's a few knockers on this horse.
There's a few knockers.
Yeah.
They can knock him all they like. This horse is a duck in the wet. So's All-Time Legend. So's Order Again. So if this track's in the S7, you know, in that sort of mould, these three are swimmers. Big Popper Pump's definitely talented. Mile first up should be all right for him. I'm expecting a big run. Team Tommy. Team Tommy wins. If he gets to 3, mate, we're going to St Andrews, and I think Tommy can fix up the bill.
All right, interesting card there. Written Beauty at $1.30 is a watch and see, but certainly talented. Profiteer, if you don't want to take the $1.55, I suggest you bet up the $15 now for the Blue Diamond. I'm a $10 to win, $40 a place type player. So even the $3.75 for Profiteer to place in a Blue Diamond, I think his figures have him in the top two-year-olds running around at the moment, although I won't mention Acrobat being removed from the Golden Slipper markets, Hayden. North Pacific will be hard to beat. Again, $2.20 up to you. And Ole Kirk, some really nice horses coming back for Team Hawk. So let's keep an eye on both meetings on the weekend. Is there anything you want to leave the punters with?
I'll leave the punters with very sad during the week to hear of the passing of Tiakau Shark. And also a little horse who made me a little bit of money when she ran around in Silent Achiever. So it's been a sad week in terms of losing a couple of favourites. In terms of leaving the punters with some advice for the weekend, just keep the gun in the holster. It's a big autumn, you know. Just keep the gun in the holster. Just have your few little bets and get the eye in.
Yeah, it is easy to do your dough at the start of the spring on good horses that are resuming, that have bigger targets in mind, like those Ole Kirks and Sir Dragonet. But I think a Bold Star at good odds is one that I want to play each way. Actually, it's not bad to start the spring with some place bets, and I want to echo your thoughts on those 2 Star New Zealand horses that passed away. Just looking up Silent Achiever's record, one a Ramvet, one a BMW. I think that was the autumn of 2014, where she took all before her. And Tiakau Shark, well, probably never saw the best of him, but he's run in the Epsom, second to Colding, and then third in the Cox Plate behind Liscrashire. Went to New Zealand, won a Group 1, and then came here and won the Chipping Norton in good style too. So sad news there, but he was an enigmatic, certainly an exciting horse to watch. Mate, good punting on the weekend. I think I'm going to have the podcast back on Monday with Tim Guile wrapping up our preview of the Caulfield meeting. If you're interested in tickets for our Ladies' Day, guys and girls welcome. Bring your partners, blokes, and we'll have a bit of a punt at Werribee on that Sunday. It should be a good day. Hit up myself or Hayden Byrne. Look forward to seeing you there and chatting to you next week, Hayden.
Good luck and congratulations during the week on won the Walkley Award, wasn't it, during the week? The Damien Barrett Award for breaking stories in thoroughbred racing.
Not a Walkley, just a VRMA award for best feature. They enjoyed my feature on Jockey Des, which I wrote back in 2019, so it feels like ages ago. But thanks for that, mate. But
and what was the other one? I think we can now hear you every Tuesday and Thursday on RSN. A little bit of tyre pump up for you today.
Yeah, a little bit of me time. On RSN with Gareth Hall, 11 a.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Just a bit of news from the Age's chief racing rider, Hayden. So mind your manners.
I'm going to have to start. You might change your name to Hoss soon, I think.
Mate, good to chat. Good punting on the weekend.
Enjoy, mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Bye.